What are we calling the show this year?
This is the Patriots Pregame Show, presented by Dunkin.
Patriots Chinwag, Patriots Before the Game Show.
Jones, he's throwing it towards Thornton, left corner of the end zone, caught, touchdown New England.
Hey, it's the Patriots.
The Patriots Pregame Show is your source for all the latest news and information before every game.
He took it to the house again.
Here we
and
go.
The Patriots take the lead.
With Hardy.
The gain was down. The gain was down.
Basically,
the
the volume
was
was down. Mike Dussault.
Actually, it's not just music trivia with this guy.
No.
Paul Perillo.
That was more yelling at a take that he brought up.
And that's
that
why-
is correct.
And Tamara Brown.
Who was the last one?
I'm not saying it again.
Patriots Nation, welcome to the Patriots Pregame Show, presented by Dunkin.
I can't wait. Welcome in to the Patriots Pregame Show, fueled by Dunkin. Hardy, Mike Dussault, Tamara Brown, Paul Perillo. All here for you as the Patriots get ready to take on the visiting Commanders of Washington. It's another must-win game for the Patriots. 2-6 on the season. What are you laughing at? At 3-5
You're a funny
Commanders.
guy.
I don't know. I've never experienced so many must-win games in the first half plus of a season. Just a tick over the halfway mark here as we prepare for this contest today. So let's get into it. We're going to try and wrap this whole keys to the game thing up with the changing of the key before we get to our behind the enemy lines guest at 11 a.m. And then later on, we'll worry about over-unders. I see they've already been corrected. It's unbelievable. It's frickin' unbelievable. That kid, for as much as he does right, consistently does it wrong. Morel, what is your major malfunction?
Numbers and me do not go together.
can't
So
do
you
it?
want me to share it with you?
Quickly,
The one that
yes.
he had? So last week we had Tua longest play over 38.5 yards, something like that.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have one to go. He threw a 42-yard touchdown.
Oh.
It wasn't like one random play. Like, it was a touchdown.
It was a big play.
You were serious about that?
So anyway,
All right, we'll get to that in the Sunday six-pack. But first, keys to the game. Let's go. Why did you leave the keys up on the table? You wanted to.
You've waited all week for it.
The whole team's in the locker room right now, just listening to this, waiting to hear what you're going to say.
Without these keys, the Patriots are destined and doomed to fail.
Here are Hardy, Paul, Mike, and Tamara's keys to the game.
Why did I steal your key to the game also? Keys to the game. Without these keys, Patriots doomed and destined to fail today against the Commanders. The current key holder, Tamara, will go first with her key to this week's game at Gillette Stadium. Tamara.
Hardy, my key to the game is command the line of scrimmage. Sam Howell has been sacked 41 times this season. If they can win this battle in the trenches and make him uncomfortable, force him to hold on to the ball, we can force him into mistakes because he's a guy that's made a ton of mistakes this year. And on the other side of the line of scrimmage, Mac Jones, make him as comfortable as possible. This offensive line, it's been allegedly the blame for why he's played so bad this year. One of the many excuses. If you can make him comfortable, make him confident, the Patriots can get off to a good start.
It's a strong play to retain the key. The line of scrimmage is going to be fundamental today, as it always is, but especially for the reasons that Tamara just mentioned, not just for protecting Mac Jones, but Sam Howell, his numbers under pressure are abysmal. He's Sam Howell. That's who he is. So you can somehow
That's all you have to say.
find a way to create problems for him and protect your guy with a severely depleted Commanders pass rush, then that should be a huge key.
Huge.
To today's game. Well done,
Yeah.
Tamara.
Thank you.
It's impressive. You select who goes next as the current key holder.
Mike.
Yes. Just kidding.
nailed it.
So I just kind of went straight up this week. I didn't come up with something creative and pithy like Hardy, but I was also late, so I apologize for that. But I really think this is the key today. I think it's Patriots got to get turnovers. Like I agree with everything Tamara said about getting on Sam Howell. It's just my thing is like he doesn't seem fazed by getting sacked like hundreds of times. Like he just keeps throwing the ball. So I just think at some point the Patriots defense has to continue to wake up and make more plays on the ball. If they don't get takeaways today, I really think they could drop this one. I think we'll come back in here in the post-game show. We'll look at who won the turnover contest, and I think that team's probably the one that's going to win. Love a defensive score. That would be ideal. They haven't gotten one this year. That's been a big part of the success of their defense in recent years. So for me, just bottom line, the Patriots defense has to get takeaways from Sam Howell. I think even if they get sacks, he's going to continue to throw the ball down the field, and he'll complete it. He's got some good players. He's got some good guys that he's throwing the ball to that are quick and fast and can cause problems. So Patriots defense, J.C. Jackson, Jonathan Jones, Duggar, take the ball away.
What do you think of his key, Paul?
Oh, geez, it sounds like one of my professors
Yeah,
in
it's all
college.
right.
Like, yeah, I mean, he tried hard.
Interesting take. No, I think we're all kind of very similar in.
No.
Well, I think to me it's about Sam Howell, Mr. Howell.
I love how
Lovey.
you were like really formal with that, Mr. Howell.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a Gilligan's Island reference,
See,
a television
this is
program
another
you
thing
never
I've
watched.
never seen.
Weren't you alive in the 60s?
Thurston Howell III
Just so you know, I didn't watch them live. I saw the reruns when I was a kid.
and his wife Lovey.
Hello, Lovey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time trying to think of a corresponding Gilligan's Island key, and I wasn't smart enough to do it.
So I do agree with both Tamara and Mike. I think it's you got to get around Sam Howell. The sacks are what they are. I think the negative plays, he only has 8 picks, so it's not like they're all resulting in turnovers. But I think Mike is right. You might need to give your offense a little bit of a boost here. But I think it starts with getting after Sam Howell, because if you don't, if he gets comfortable. And I do think that Mike is right. Terry McLaurin, they won't have Curtis Samuel. He's out of the game. But, Logan Thomas, Tamara's boy from Virginia Tech, they have some weapons to throw to. I think Dotson's a pretty good receiver, too. I think Brian Robinson's a serviceable running back. They can move the ball if you allow Washington to get comfortable. So, to me, it's all about pressuring Mr. Howell.
All right. Finally, this really requires, saying it out loud, but also how it's written makes a big difference. Make a stand, or the Commanders will treat you like Ned Flanders. You understand what I'm saying?
I did.
It
Even when I read it on the text, I chuckled to myself.
Okay, so
I don't think I had the pentameter down, though. That, like, you laid it out. The beats of it was very nice.
it's almost a haiku.
Yeah.
No, what it means is, as if we didn't already know, it's pretty
Explain this.
self-explanatory. You have a couple of hapless buffoons here. Think of the Patriots as Homer Simpson, okay? You've got Ned Flanders coming in, and if you allow him to somehow have the upper hand, he will win. In the battle of a couple of half-witted teams, whoever is weaker is going to end up losing this game. You don't want to lose to Ned Flanders, okay? So let's not let Ned Flanders get the best of us today. Make a stand, or the Commanders will treat you like Ned Flanders. I had it worked out in my head so much better 3 days ago.
Does that make McLaurin and Dotson as that Rod and Todd?
Am I telling?
Yay!
Poor Rod and Todd.
This is just the beginning of Hardy being insufferable, because what I talked about 3 weeks ago is happening today.
What?
And I'm concerned.
What happened what would you talk about 3 weeks ago?
Where I said,
What
like,
happened?
the moment that we might see someone, I'm not going to say his name again, today could be that day. And you're going to throw the punt around. I can't say his name.
Oh, Booty.
Oh!
I got it.
Today could be
Paul,
the day you
I
see
gotta
him
give you
again.
credit. That one did not
Did not get
by
by
you.
Yes.
Today could be the day we see him again.
Am I telling tales out of school, though, that these are two bad football teams playing today?
Yeah, it's kind of reminiscent of the
Yeah.
Raiders game a couple weeks ago. When
Right.
I felt like it was a pillow fight
Right.
between two bad teams.
Don't let a bad team come in here and beat you.
I think it's the effort thing. It's like what team is still looking to play competitive football and are looking to go out there and, really try to get the win. I mean, I know we heard a little bit this week about Washington obviously trading away those two guys in Young and Sweat. But they still do have some young players on defense, I think. And to me, though, it all just comes down to the offense. This is a Patriots offense that cannot score 30 points. And we've seen this Washington team score 30 points a few times.
And
so.
that's why I
Are
think
you
some of the numbers in this game today, including the total, are interesting. But I'm not being overly mean. I'm not being overly critical. Bad teams. The Patriots can play well. We saw them play really well against Buffalo. They have good players. They have good coaching. If they can put it all together, they don't have to be a bad team. Some teams are just destined to be a bad team. I think Carolina is a bad football team, and there's nothing they can do about it. The Patriots don't have to be a bad team.
Yeah.
But last week they played like a bad team.
Yeah, but they also, have. I mean, Kendrick Bourne's on IR now, so I mean, you could say he's their best receiver. Like they've lost their best receiver. Parker's not going to play. I mean, that's an outside guy. I know he's had his issues, but Jawan Bentley, what's going to happen with him? So, big physical running back with Brian Robinson from Washington. It's you're going to miss having Jawan Bentley. So it's it's kind of like a few weeks ago when all of a sudden the injuries just kind of like you weren't really thinking about. You're thinking more about the matchup and not about the impact that the injuries are going to have. But I think that you're really looking at Mac Jones with a new set of targets this week. There's going to be some new guys getting some chances. And, for whatever security blanket that Kendrick Bourne was for him, he's not going to have it this week. So Booty, Juju, Demario Douglas, those guys got to step up.
Please.
Something funny happen?
I just
Booty.
just whenever you say that name,
was-
Hardy is just gonna look at me, and I'm
just going to light up. Okay.
He's not going to let this opportunity go by you.
Plenty of time to go to Pat and Agawam and have him choose
there you
the
go.
new key holder, or will Tamara retain the key?
First one ever, right? Would be the first time.
For what? The first time to retain
Back
it?
to back, yeah.
Wait, I thought you did.
Well, either
I
that
thought
or
Paul
I did.
retained it.
Yeah, we're not sure. We'll have to. I'm sure Morel took accurate records. All right.
What do you got, Patty?
So, Pat, you heard them all. Dussault wants to force turnovers. Paul says pressure Mr. Howell. I had the very pithy and brilliant statement about, I don't know, something to do with the Simpsons. And then Tamara says, command the line of scrimmage. Who is the winner for the key to the game this week?
Got to give it to Mike.
Yes.
Wow. All right.
Play the pomp and circumstance song. Wait, can you put it over my head? Do I get to stand up on the podium?
No.
Oh,
Just
like the
just throw it at
Han
me.
Solo Chewie thing. Yeah, we did that last week. That would have been nice. All right, thank you for that, Pat. What else do you have? As we'll get a chance to speak with you before we go behind enemy lines. What's going on, Patty?
Yeah, I think Deuce Neal hit the nail on the head. I think
That's
you got to
right.
create turnovers if you want to win this game.
Isn't that
'cause
the key to every game?
even though they traded away
definitely
the
this
probably best defensive players, I could see this kind of getting out of control. I could see Washington lighting up the scoreboard for like 37 or 38 points. I don't have a good feeling about it today, and normally when that happens, my guys lose.
Oh boy.
So yeah.
It's getting emotional.
I can barely hear the phone calls here. Can we push those levels a little bit there, Matt? Thanks, buddy.
More.
I think this
there it
is going to be kind of like a pillow fight today. I think the team with the bigger pillow wins, and I think that's going to be the Commanders, unfortunately.
Wow.
Sorry, guys.
Wow. All right. Well, off to a very positive start here.
While
on
we
the
were
Patriots
getting
pregame.
the rulings and everything for the key to the game, the Miami game ended. Kansas City, Miami, and Germany. What I thought should have been an incomplete pass was called a fumble and return for a touchdown by the Chiefs. The Dolphins do not make any friends with the officials. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
They are getting another tough day with calls.
This is surprising to me. I was wondering how Kansas City would respond to arriving literally probably 20 hours ago compared to the Dolphins who've been there all week. I was wondering if the Chiefs will come out flat, kind of like the Bills did against the Jags, but they seem to be wide awake and not impacted at all by an 11 and a half hour flight to Frankfurt.
Now, I heard
11
that.
and a half hours.
Oh, from Kansas City.
Did they go the other way or something?
They can't go through the middle.
Doesn't take 4.5
I don't know.
hours to get from here to
Right.
Kansas City.
I know.
I don't know.
And it's
But
only
that-
taken us 7, right?
Yeah.
Please tell me it's only taken us 7.
7.
Yeah.
Okay.
The reports earlier when they got there, Friday morning, that it took 11 and a half hours.
Ugh.
I don't
Crazy.
know.
It's too long.
I don't know.
They seem fine.
But
they seem fine.
If I were Andy Reid, I would have gone up and knocked on the door and said, "Are you using the GPS?
Right.
Don't be stubborn. Ask
Just
for
winging it.
ask for help.
Yeah.
Don't be stubborn. Ask for
Hey,
directions."
Lucky Lindy, are you just staring down at the ocean trying to discern?
sextant.
Yeah.
11 and a half hours.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
What do you even
brutal.
do? How do you even get to a flight that long? That just seems.
But then
insane.
Mike McDaniel is such a
a caution. He's a caution.
I like him, and I think he's entertaining. But he was such a dink in that answer earlier this week. It's like, why are you going over so early? Well, there's a variety of factors. bang.
I don't mind
talking about?
I don't mind generally what he says, but how he says it does kind of rub me the wrong way.
Yeah, and especially when it comes off as like appearing foolish as going over as early as Miami does now. All right. Well, congratulations to Mike for
Chiefs
getting
21-0, by the way. Probably heading to the half.
Okay, so that is what Paul means when he says that game is over. It is ended. You said that. I'm sure you can.
You don't really see Mahomes cough up too many 21-point leads.
I would not
gotta
think
let that
so.
bounce around a little there, guy. You got to get the half over.
Well, we got to get behind enemy lines if you don't mind. There, Red Zone Paul.
Absolutely.
You know the view from New England,
We go behind enemy lines.
but what about the view from the other side?
And that's why you're our favorite pregame show guest every year.
You guys know you tell everybody that.
Oh, yeah.
I was on with you guys in 2018 Thursday Night Football.
Yep.
And I was told I was the favorite guest of the show.
Nope.
No.
Time now to go behind enemy lines.
My God, it's coming right for us.
From the Washington Post on X at Sam4TR, it's Sam Fortier joining us here on the Patriots Pregame Show. Sam, it's Hardy, Mike, Tamara, and Paul. Thanks for taking some time this morning.
Of course, guys. Thank you for having me. I used to come to the stadium growing up with my uncle Carl Johnson. He's been a season ticket holder. It's been in the family for 30-something years. So it's cool to be able to talk to you guys.
I know Carl.
Carl.
Spackler.
Yeah.
Hey, Sam, I got to ask you just what was the feeling around the team this week after the trade of Young and Sweat?
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be a sort of a sadness, a little bit of a somber mood in the locker room because those are two guys that were really big emotional components of this team. You know, they were leaders, they were drivers, especially being pass rushers off the edge. I mean, there were obviously some logistical things that showed up on the field where they didn't always reach their potential. I think having 4 first-round picks up front, guys taking their shots, egos, it didn't always lead to productive results. I mean, this defense is the 31st ranked defense in terms of points allowed per game, so it clearly wasn't always working. But still, those guys have been around for 4 years and were big, loud, boisterous presences. So, I think everybody was a little bit down.
I just had a quick follow-up on that, Sam. What was like the reaction, if you could gauge one generally, from the fans of the team, the people who cover the team? Did they take it well? Do they understand what they're trying to do with moves like this? Or are people throwing up their hands and saying, hey, wait a second, we're 3-5. The season's not a total complete loss yet. What was the mood afterward?
So this is kind of to break it down, I think that people in general in Washington are still in the honeymoon phase of we are no longer under Dan Snyder. He's gone, and anyone who's not him is here, and that's a huge plus. And then I think that people were – and then there's another component where fans, I think, overestimated the trade market, particularly for half-season rentals of even, very good pass rushers. And so when you see a guy get moved on that was the number 2 overall pick for a third-round pick, people were also frustrated by that. Same with Montez Sweat going for a second-round pick. Though I think when Chicago paid him, a big contract, people were like, okay, we probably weren't going to pay Sweat that, so that's okay. But particularly about Chase Young, the first pick of Ron Rivera's tenure, the number 2 overall pick, a local kid, people that had, that's the jersey that people in Washington owned for a long time, bought, or certainly early in his tenure, then has the ACL injury. People have really fractured on him. Some people doubled down and said, hey, this is our guy. This is a guy that's really important to our future. And some people said he's a bust. We need to move on from him. He's selfish. He doesn't play within the scheme super well. And so I think that that obviously those two parts of the fan base had very different reactions to that trade.
Hi, Sam. I'm wondering just what you've learned about this Washington team this season. I know they've been a roller coaster as far as wins and losses, but to see them fight against the Eagles, even though they didn't come up with the win, was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Ron Rivera's teams. I mean, literally, if you go back and look at the records in terms of breakdowns, they've started every single season 2-5 or 3-4. They started slow every year. Then they make a little bit of a push towards the middle of the season to get in the playoff picture. And then every year they fall short at the end of the year. In 2020, they fell short, but, the rest of the division was so bad they made the playoffs. But 2021, 2022 faded down the stretch and ended up playing a meaningless Week 18 game. So to me, what I have learned is that Ron Rivera, in a league that is full of consistent parity, that in a league that is so difficult to maintain a steady pace at, he's maintained a steady pace, even if it's not the one that Washington fans would have wanted.
Sam, the offense the Patriots have had all year that unfortunately we've all had the misfortune of having to watch has not been productive. And, we look on paper anyway, what the Commanders have done, and they've been over 30 points 3 times, and been generally, with only an exception or two, been pretty productive. Sam Howell, I'm just curious your thoughts on his play, and I'm wondering, I know you're 3-5. Is it a lot of times where they're down multiple scores in the second half, and maybe the numbers look a little bit better than they are, or is the offense legitimate in Washington?
The offense has been legitimate at times, but kind of, as you pointed out, very inconsistent. And so I say that like they come out and they play Philly tough 2 straight times, as the Super Bowl runner-up last year, and then they'll come out against the 1-5 Giants, and they don't do the things that their offense does well in terms of quick passing, in terms of using Sam Howell's mobility, using his arm strength, taking shots downfield, and it looks terrible. They scored 7 points. I think they had 8 drives, or 6 of them went 3 and out in that first half against the Giants. And so I think that's a combination of the offensive line, Sam Howell growing and developing, and Eric Bieniemy being a first-time solo play caller as offensive coordinator. He did some of that in Kansas City, but it wasn't always on him with Andy Reid. So I think it's a combination of things. And so I'm actually very curious because Washington really struggled against Wink Martindale and the New York Giants, who play a lot of man coverage, a lot of blitzes, mixing a lot of cover zero. And to me, just from what I saw on tape, it seems like Bill Belichick's defense is playing a lot of the same way. So I'm wondering if Washington will be effective in that manner as well.
You wrote earlier this week, this is Sam Fortier, by the way, from the Washington Post, about the Commanders players saying that they're not fully set on rebuilding. What does that allude to, Sam? If you could kind of, or maybe, I don't know if it was yours or Jason Murray's article on it, but is that the report that players aren't all in on it, or that they think this is just kind of like a modest rebuild? What does that mean with the team right now?
So when you trade 2 of your best players at the trade deadline, I think that always is going to signal, and you have a new owner, and you're probably going to have a new coach and general manager next season. I think that people, get this sense, particularly because Josh Harris, when he owned the Philadelphia 76ers, went all in on the process, right? Tear it down. Players at least have said that at the end of this year, that's not going to affect them. They believe they can still win and make a push toward the postseason, and they believe they have the players to make that happen. I think that's an open question in terms of, will they actually back those words up with action? Will they be able to come out every week and fight, and say, hey, we are going to make a push for the postseason, even though, we're down 2 of our better guys we came into the season with. And I think it starts this weekend against New England, because I think that this team views New England as a team that they can get right against, because they have a tough schedule for the rest of the year.
All right. Sam, do you have a score prediction on the game today?
I've been going back and forth because I know that Bill Belichick's reputation against young quarterbacks is well deserved. So I think I'm going to take New England 21-20. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
There's been a lot of people with picks like that.
Yeah. I think it makes sense to think it would be close. And, the phrase pillow fight has been thrown around a number of times already this week and even today on this show. But 21-20 will give us some football to watch. And, I think it's one that probably could go either way. Sam, good stuff. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Sam Fortier there with the Washington Post, at Sam4TR on Twitter.
Yeah, just interesting that, we've been talking about this, alluding to it, that he mentions that the players, the Commanders players, think of this as an opportunity game, a get-right kind of a game for them, much like we've been talking about for New England when they played New Orleans and when they played who they lose to,
Raiders.
The Raiders. And now again this week and next week with the Colts. Like, these are the games that the other teams look to as well.
It's the battle of teams looking to get right.
Yeah.
And which, the league loves. Oh, let's have a couple of struggling teams squaring off, try and get a win that probably won't change the fate of their season all that much. But for the Patriots, I do argue that it could mean more, because then you do start looking at the next few weeks on the schedule, and you start to think to yourself, if we can beat
every team on our schedule, we can get back in the playoff.
It's not even about the playoffs, Paul.
I mean, Hardy, I think in this one, it's like, if they can't figure out a way to get points on the board against a depleted front, like you can't even do it without Sweat and Young, like that's problematic.
I agree. Yeah. Which is one of the reasons, like earlier in the week, when the total was only at like 39.5 for this game. People are not expecting a lot of scoring to take place. The Commanders have put up points at times.
Yeah.
And the Patriots have shown the last few weeks they can score a little bit, but when Sweat was traded and Young, it went up like 1.5, maybe 2 points on the total. I thought, seems like maybe people are missing out on a game that I'm not saying it's going to be, the most wild 42-38 game we're going to see all season, but I could see both teams scoring in the low to mid 20s today. I don't think that's out of the question.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. I would just be very disappointed, especially from Mac, who has admitted that he's been looking too much at the pass rush. You have an opportunity this week where you don't have to be fearful of someone like Montez Sweat or Chase Young coming after you. Obviously,
but
they
depending
still
on
have
what
talent there. They do still have talent
they
there,
do.
but it's like you don't have that big name star coming after you. If he doesn't find a way to be productive today, it'd be really disappointing.
And I'm sorry, Deuce, but not only that, who's the Patriots left tackle today? Because it ain't Trent Brown.
Well, he was back. He was
I
back.
wouldn't say that.
I think he'll play.
You think he's going to play today?
Yes, I would be stunned if he doesn't, because they give him $2 million to make sure he's on the field.
All right.
That's my feeling until he misses a game. I'm going to stick with that.
Okay.
But to the point, I think
Do you have inside information he's not playing? No. Sounds it.
No, I really don't. I would.
I would bet he's not missing out on that check.
I would be puffing up my chest a little bit if I had any inside information I didn't want to share. But I just thought after practicing on Friday, and obviously if he didn't practice on Friday, forget it. He's not playing.
No, I think the real area of concern is in the middle. To me,
did he go from not participate
to
limited?
Yes.
To limited on Friday.
He was limited on Friday. He's not guaranteed to play today.
No.
So
you're right to bring that up.
2 DNPs.
And they elevated Connor McDermott too, so they
right.
had
No, you're
an extra
absolutely
tackle.
right to bring that up as a possibility.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. You're not crazy.
I sort of like that's more of me getting my shot in at Trent Brown because they had to pay $2 million in incentives to make sure he plays.
Just the quick point I was going to make is I think they still have Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen, who are two good interior guys, and I think some of the struggles up front, guys like Cole Strange, the rookies, Mafi, and so those guys are going to have to hold up inside.
Mike.
That could be it's not the edge rushers that it was with the guys they traded away, but it is pressure up the middle. And
I know Bill talked a lot about one of those young guys in the edge.
Smith Williams.
Yep. In some of the preview, and I know Bill tends to sort of wax poetic about the opponent always, but I do think there's an opportunity for some of those guys, and Sam kind of alluded to it, like they're not ready to call it a rebuild. Some of those young guys are looking to find their way in the league, and they have every reason to play hard. And, just because the stars aren't out there doesn't mean I think that you can look at this and say, well, you don't have anything to worry about.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting because Washington has shown an ability to score, an ability to make some explosive plays and, to put the ball down the field. Some of the Patriots really haven't. And it feels like when the Patriots do score points, it's just so methodical and, all right, that was a great 14-play drive that, they eked out. But just Washington's ability for quick scores, I wonder how that's going to affect the complexion of the game. And if it's really going to put pressure on the Patriots we got to score quick. Like, we can't afford to have these, 8-minute drives that, maybe we get a field goal. If we're lucky, we get a touchdown. So I think if Washington has some success moving the ball, they get some big plays, it's going to put a lot of pressure on Mac in the offense.
You mentioned Jason Smith-Williams there. Phil Perry wrote about him. He said he was, and I did not remember this, well known for coming out of NC State for his absurd physical transformation during his college days. Do you know about this?
No.
He said the one-time prototypical Patriot and 2-year robotic animation intern at IBM just may short-circuit a drive or two. Oh, my God,
Phil.
the metaphor.
Phil, you could be on this show anytime.
For the Patriots, I mean, that is some dad joke on swole type of gold.
Comedic stylings.
I'll have to go back and see if I can see some before and after for
yeah,
yes,
big time.
Put on some pounds. Oh my goodness, did he put on weight? Okay,
all right.
Very short period of time too. All right, let's get out.
Okay,
yeah.
Here we go. Sorry.
Let's go to Kendall Roy, North Carolina. Kendall,
the eldest boy.
That's right. On the Patriots pregame show, fueled by Dunkin. What's up, Kendall?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey.
Hey, can y'all possibly see a scenario where Matt Jones plays good for the rest of the year, but we still end up with a top 5 pick or whatnot? Or if he plays good, you probably think we won about 6 or 7 games.
Yeah. It's hard to see that kind of like middle ground of him playing good, yet they still only win 1 or 2 more games. That seems a little bit of a tall order, and that's what I think you're worried about, that he's going to play good enough to get them 6 or 7, and then they're picking somewhere 8, 9, 10, 11, and you're maybe going to miss out on some of those really good talent.
I could see him playing well and the Patriots just not being able to put up touchdowns. Instead, it being like he plays well enough, but they put up field goals, or he plays well enough, but and doesn't make any mistakes, but they can't beat the opponent because the opponent can just get 1 more touchdown.
Hard to see, or especially the defense just folds.
Exactly, especially without Kendrick Bourne, and I feel like Pop Douglas can't do it on his own. I need someone else to step up. I could see Mac playing well and them not being able to get enough to win.
Absolutely.
See what it looks like today?
I'm sorry, what's that, Kendall?
You think Taquan and Butte plays today, or at least one of them?
I think Booty, but Taquan popped up with a foot injury on Friday, so he's got an issue, and that I think Juju and Booty are the two they're probably up before Thornton. I mean, it could be Thornton if Parker can't go, or Parker's not going.
Parker's out, and I think it depends on his foot. I think Booty will play, but it depends on health for Thornton.
I did think it was interesting this week that Bill said that Booty's had probably the best week of practice he's had all season. So I'm hoping that he can redeem himself from obviously those 2 situations where he wasn't able to get 2 feet in. I'll be interested to see if he has a better game today.
It'd be funny to see if he's.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Kendall.
Thanks, Kendall.
855-PATS-500, webradio at patriots.com if you'd like to email the Patriots Pregame Show, which is fueled by Dunkin. And we talked to Erica in Virginia. Hello, Erica.
Hello, guys. I'm back.
Hey.
From the airport?
I might be on line 3. I don't know, and I'm traveling, so I hope y'all can hear me.
We can.
We can hear you.
Awesome. Listen, how do y'all feel about a Thornton, Parker, Mills package trade for literally anybody else at this point?
Well, there's a couple problems with that. Number one, the trade deadline was last week, so they can't make a trade. But I don't know, Mike. What do you think you could get for the Parker, Mills, Thornton package? A conditional 7?
Yeah, there you go.
I
maybe.
Seriously, Erica, I think you probably have the same thoughts that a lot of people do. It's like, well, why don't you just package up
all the bad
players and try and get 1 good player? Which, look,
I don't even necessarily say 1 good player. At least 2 good players, whether it be 2 on offense or 1 on offense and 1 on defense to make up. For the injuries.
Yeah, I don't know that anybody's going to take those 3 players off your hands and give you somebody that is contributing for them that could contribute for you. It's a wonderful idea, but the quantity does not translate into better quality coming back. Not in a situation like that. It just doesn't.
It's just wishful thinking at this point. Right?
Yeah, that's all right. It's all right though.
Y'all think we're going to get the lotion and hose again, or do you think since Parker's out in the pine we might stand a chance?
I think we're going to get the hose.
Well, I think there's a very good chance that we don't put the lotion in the basket and we will get the hose again. That's what I think. Eric, I had to let you go. I'm sorry, a little noisy. Wherever you're traveling,
I'm holding on to Precious as long as I can. I'm not giving Precious back until I'm walking out that front door.
Find those fingernails on the side of the well. Don't look at them. Don't look at them. Have you watched it yet, Tamara?
I have not.
Oh, Precious.
It was on a bunch during Halloween. During leading up to All Hallows Eve, you could have watched it.
It doesn't
then.
matter what the holiday is. I'm watching Law and Order SVU.
This is true.
Did I ever explain to you that I finally understand why that show is so popular?
No.
Okay. And I think I told you, Deuce, or Paul, or both. I get it now because I'd never watched it. I'd never watched any episode. I knew what the sound was. I knew the references. I know Jerry Orbach, and I get it. But I'd never watched more than 1 episode. And then I watched a couple one day. And I said, oh, I get it. They're completely undependent or independent of each other. There's no continuing storyline. There's no great character development. It's just about that 1 hour.
Yeah.
So you can just take it or leave it, and it's fine.
It's not like NYPD Blue where you're following Sipowicz and his trials and tribulations as a young dude and going through those
being
things.
naked.
Being naked.
Only a couple of times.
Dennis Franz's.
And
It was unsettling.
that was one of the
That
best.
was a good show.
It was
a good show.
an
NYPD Blue
outstanding
was a good show.
The Rick Schroeder years were not good.
This guy a little bit, you think? I got on the pass.
Yeah,
Deuce.
yeah.
Rick
The
Schroeder.
Danny Sorensen
Well,
years
then-
were not good.
Then what's his face came in, right? Zach.
Yeah,
Zach
from
Morris.
Saved by the Bell, and he was
Yeah.
excellent.
Mark Paul Gosselier.
Yeah. I don't know if it's Gosselier. I don't know if that's how he pronounces it, but yes.
Gosselier.
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 Floyd in Michigan is going to have at least 3 and perhaps as many as 5 questions for us. Floyd, what's going on?
Mr. Hardy
Yes.
and everybody else, good morning.
And
Good morning to you.
And the rest. Mr. Howell.
I actually do have 5 questions.
Love it.
The first 4 are yes or no only. The last one's not.
That's
Let's
great.
go.
Ready.
Question number 1. Are the New England Patriots a bad football team?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If Mac Jones threw 2 touchdowns for every 1 interception, would his interception be considered so costly?
Yes.
No.
How'd you feel about his pick last week?
Okay, but that
He
was
threw 2 touchdowns, 1 interception.
okay, but that's one game. You have to go back to all the other games
Right.
when he threw no touchdowns and had 2 picks.
Oh, well, those were more costly. But he asked if
No,
these
I'm
would, he asked if these would be costly.
give me a game. Was I don't know, maybe the
No.
Saints, or the Cowboys. He throw 2 picks with no touchdown passes.
Those were more costly.
Okay, but if you threw 4 touchdown passes in those games, you
Well,
would.
that's he said 2
He said
touchdowns
2,
for every
so
interception.
Yes, they're so costly because this team cannot
So
overcome mistakes.
like 34 touchdowns and 17 picks is not a good season.
I'm not even sure what the question was anymore, Floyd. What's number 3?
Last week against the 49ers, Joe Burrow rushed for 43 yards. Was this further evidence of his underrated athleticism?
I would say Joe Burrow is
I think
athletic.
he's an excellent athlete.
Yeah, I think Joe Burrow
So
is
I'm going to say
athletic.
no because I think a lot of him.
Yeah. I think he's
You
athletic.
had all the evidence you need.
I did. Yeah, I didn't.
At
I
LSU.
didn't watch the game closely enough to decide whether or not he was trying to prove something by that. So we'll move on. Number 4.
Last week, the Tennessee
Not
Titans
evident.
wore their Houston Oilers throwback uniforms, and they look fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do the Titans and the Patriots have the best throwback uniforms in the NFL?
Oh no.
Okay.
The
No.
Titans have. I don't think the Patriots do.
Well, the Titans shouldn't even be allowed to wear those, but I'm glad they did because they looked phenomenal.
they
looked so
are
good.
excellent.
I'm glad that they were able to, but I still don't think they should be able to. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? It's nice to see him, but it's wrong.
I totally agree with you. It's not their team.
Who has
I
the
know it's the
okay,
same franchise, but it's not their team.
So, quick list of teams throwbacks we like better than the Patriots.
I liked Miami's.
I
last
really
week.
like.
Miami's.
I love Miami's are great.
the Chargers.
Chargers.
Chargers are always good. I personally like the Seahawks. I know that's probably an acquired taste.
I would
but
agree
like
with the
those
Seahawks
ones.
last week.
I love the Patriots too, though. I
Yeah.
think those are nice.
If the Patriots,
times a year.
I know it's personal preference. Everybody has the different way. If the Patriots wore the ones from the late '70s with the white shirts and the red pants, I'd be all in.
You got me.
Okay.
They don't wear. They wear the ones from the '80s,
All right.
which I didn't like those uniforms when
And
I was.
Your 5th and
Following.
final question for us, Floyd.
This one is not yes or no only.
Okay.
Scoring around the NFL this year is down. What are some of the reasons for this? And thank you for taking my call.
Floyd, appreciate it. Floyd is the Bill Murray of Patriots Pregame Show callers. When Bill Murray would be a guest on a late night show, he'd always bring something. He'd have a sketch, he'd have a bit, he'd have something ready, so that as a host, you don't have to.
I wasn't aware of this.
We don't have to worry about the next 8 minutes. Bill is on the show.
Okay.
He's going to bring something.
I like
That's what Floyd brings. Okay, scoring is down. I would say, I'll just get the ball rolling. I'd say some of the focuses that the officials apparently are focusing on, ineligible downfield receiver, things like that, are hurting some drives and taking. Now, they picked some of those flags up. They picked one up against David Andrews and the Patriots. They picked up another one in a game I was watching last week. But I think some of the calls
against the Patriots last week.
against the Patriots, right? So I think some of the focuses of the officials this year have hurt offense. That's one reason.
Yeah, I mean, I think some, people probably, I can't really tell you exactly, but I mean, I think people would tell you that there's more a focus for defenses to not give up big scoring plays. I mean, we saw a stat here with the Mahomes game, obviously kind of anecdotal with Patrick Mahomes, but just, saying he doesn't have I forget what the number was, but it's just in terms of 20-plus yard passing touchdowns, he doesn't really have many, just maybe a couple this year, as opposed to really obscene production in his early years. So I think that's probably part of it. I know the Brandon Staley of it all is as well as Fangio down in cover 2, and I can't tell you exactly what the translation is there. I just know that's a common refrain around the league, that teams are just playing more cover 2 and not getting beat over the top for big plays.
I think those things are both factors, and I definitely think defenses started, 2 years ago, really focused on the cover 2 stuff and keeping stuff in front and trying not to get beat by as many big plays. This is kind of a subtle thing. I think there are more and more inexperienced quarterbacks playing now. And some of them can play. Some of them are good. But I just think it takes some time. And I think I saw something today that this is going to be the 9th rookie starting quarterback in the league this year, which is going to be the most at this point in the season since like 1950 or something absurd like that. C.J. Stroud's been a good player, but I think it's hard for these young, inexperienced quarterbacks to go against the kinds of zones that you're talking about, Mike, and the cover 2s and the cover 3s that they probably haven't seen a tremendous amount of, definitely hadn't seen enough of run to this level of execution. I think it contributes to keeping scores
probably
down.
Challenging mentally for those guys, too, especially you're a young guy. You come from college. You're used to just bombs away and big plays, and that's kind of your rhythm. And now all of a sudden you're being forced to check down and think a lot and get off your first read. And,
and beyond that, I would say it's sort of case by case. We're watching the Chiefs right now. The Chiefs still have a good offense, but they're not that explosive, not as explosive as they've been in the past with Mahomes. They don't have the horses to be as explosive as they've been in the past. I mean, this is all I've been seeing today is Patrick Mahomes running for his life, scrambling out of the pocket. But their receivers are, beyond Kelsey, are very average. And, another flag to Hardy's point, the flags have been all over the place. And I think that's a good one with the referees' impact in this stuff.
I like your note, Paul, about the rookie quarterbacks, because now 2 more are getting a start this weekend with the Vikings and the Raiders.
Speaking of the
Raiders.
Rookie quarterbacks, we have an email here. This is from Bill in California. Said, after watching Washington versus USC, who would you rather draft? Penix Jr.? Michael Penix? Is it Michael? Michael Penix Jr.? Huskies quarterback?
Michael.
Or Williams? Caleb Williams. Who do you think will be drafted first?
I think Caleb Williams will be. I mean, I watched a little bit of that game, but I haven't really,
I haven't seen enough, and believe me, what I've seen of Caleb Williams' highlights, and who doesn't look good in highlights.
Yeah, he looked great. I mean, they both looked great last night. I don't know. It's going to be one of those things where we'll jump into it in the offseason and really drill down on it. But I thought Williams looked, to me, outstanding. I mean, Penix seems like he's got a little bit more around him, but there's plenty of people out there who have watched a lot more of those guys than I have and can give you better in-depth analysis at this point.
Mahomes a little slow to get up after taking the ball for, looks like, about 15 yards again by himself.
He should have slid. Like, he tried to do too much to get to first down and ended up getting a lot more contact than he should have. He should have just ended it right there versus doing that.
Right. No, he's up, Adam.
Whatever floats his boat.
Oh, no, he's not. They're punting, sorry.
Yeah, whatever floats his boat.
It's like, wow, is he in the shotgun?
Nah.
Man, this is a different kind of play.
He's kicking the ball with his foot. We haven't seen that before.
He can do it all, this young Patrick Mahomes. Watch out for him. He's a Jim Dandy.
I also feel like defenses are just so much faster now. I feel like there's a lot more quarterback injuries now more than ever.
There's more quarterback injuries, but the defense isn't. This is going to get, Deuce's shorts in a bunch. The athletes who are choosing the defensive side of the ball, I think you've seen that increase in recent years. Guys going to college, guys focusing in, like, completely content to play defense and be a standout corner. Linebacker, pass rushers, a lot of that is going to be dictated on your physical attributes anyway.
Yeah.
But I think in the safety positions and the corner positions, these are guys who 15 years ago, I want to be a wide receiver. You know, that's all I want to be. I want to be a slot. I want to be a wide. A lot of these guys are saying like, hey, I can go out there and have just as much fun being a shutdown corner or a really good safety in this league, probably have a better chance of, you know, making a name for myself in college and getting a job in the pros than I would be if I'm just another guy who's trying to be the next big thing at a receiver position.
Yeah, I mean, I draw the line, too, to all the 7-on-7 the kids play now and the quarterback passing leagues and all that. And, you know, kids are, you know, when I was a kid, it was, you know, if you weren't too fat, which is weird. I was too fat to play Pop Warner at the time. Like, but, you know, you're strapping pads on kids, and, you know, half of them are getting stuck playing line if you're not fast. And I think, you know, some of these, even just with flag football, you're seeing a chance for kids to, you know, really get exposed more to the fun parts of football, which, like, you know, for me, guy who wasn't fast, it's like, all right, well, you're just going to line up and, you know, fight somebody in the trench for an hour and have fun. That's football for you. Well, you know, the other kids are like, hey, I get to run around. I get to score touchdowns. I'm touching the ball and making people miss, you know. And I just think there's more opportunities now for players to, or just kids that are trying football, to get into those positions. Whereas, you know, when I was, it was like, all right, kid, 5th grade, welcome to Pop Warner. You're a lineman. Welcome to the rest of your career. You know, it's there's more chances now, I think, for guys to try stuff.
If we find ourselves at a point in this Patriots season where maybe they're not playing too well, and we get a
They're
little...
already not playing too well.
Tamara, I'm just, please.
Just go along with it.
Please, okay?
Going back to the question that Floyd had, is this a bad football team? Yes.
Okay.
But continue.
If we get to a point in the season where we have some extra time, I would like to spend some time unpacking the Deuce as a fat kid thing.
Oh, it's
because
good.
That sounds like an
rich.
HR
there's
violation.
a lot to
It's
mine
rich.
there, and I don't want to make fun of you at all, but I am curious as to, you know, whether or not you had to go to a fat camp.
No.
And we
Hardy.
What?
No.
Like, do you want to go to HR? Like, this sounds like
He doesn't
HR.
work here, so I don't think he can.
I'm more than willing to talk about my childhood issues as well. You may not want to hear them. I'm sorry if this makes you uncomfortable, Tamara.
Asking someone, did they go to fat camp? That's like asking someone, like,
wasn't
a
a
woman
camp.
how old she is.
There wasn't sleepaway.
It was just you're not supposed to eat stuff.
And
No,
I need
but
two minutes to
I
eat nachos.
I wasn't afraid of. Oops, I fell in the pool with my T-shirt on. I guess I'll just leave it on. And I was never like that obese, but you know, it's just a little doughy middle schooler. Like there's a lot of us out there. And then all of a sudden, you know, you go through puberty. You get
And look at you now.
Look at me now.
And he's an Adonis. Oh.
No, but you know, those scars of being like that when you're little, it's like you get older and you're like, well, I gotta stay on it. I can't let myself go. And I'll be that kid that I didn't want to be when I was in middle school. But yeah, there's plenty there. Plenty there to unpack.
Well, let us not do that now.
The inactives are in.
Oh, boy.
Let's go.
Do it.
Devontae Parker, Will Greer, Alex Austin, Trenton Brown, Kayshon Boutte, and Sam Roberts.
You ain't playing.
I also don't trust
What'd I tell
Hardy
you?
because I feel like he had insider information.
What'd I tell you?
No, I think he's just got a nose for the game. So that's significant. Trenton Brown not playing, surprising a little bit. I mean, Paul and I both felt assured that he would. I guess it's going to be Connor McDermott, you know, probably at left tackle, back from injury. And that's, you know, just not a lot of depth with Calvin Anderson out as well. So they, that's going to be, I mean, I guess it's Vidarian Lowe then? Vidarian Lowe?
I would think.
Vidarian Lowe, Trent Brown, and Connor McDermott are your two tackles other than, you know, on when you sliding out there. So that's a big one. And then I think the Boutte thing, I kind of hinted at it. You know, it's just funny where he talked this week. He talked about being frustrated. He hasn't played since week 1. He doesn't feel like he's done anything. You know, Bill comes out and says, "Oh, he's had maybe his best week, and now he's inactive." So that's
do you think it's
significant.
Do you think it's harsh not to give someone another opportunity, like right away, to like bounce back from that situation? Like it wasn't a fumble, but it was almost treated as equal as a fumble.
I don't agree that that's what it was about, though. That's like, I've been consistent on this point. Like, I just think Kayshon Boutte in week 1, Devontae Parker couldn't go. Now we can tie this into this week because it certainly is you know, Tyquan Thornton now, but I just think they didn't have an outside receiver, and they're like, you're going to have to play this role. And he played it, and I know he made that mistake, but I don't think that was ever going to be his spot. And so I just think everybody focuses on he didn't get his feet down, and he's still paying for that mistake. I just don't agree with it. I just think he was a rookie thrust into a spot because of injury, and he didn't really perform okay. But once Parker came back, that's his job. And, you know, so, but now let's tie it to today. Who's going to play on the outside today? It looks like it's going to be Tyquan Thornton despite the foot injury. So, you know, they didn't have Tyquan Thornton that first week to put in there as a speed element on the outside. So You feel bad. I would like to see Booty. I think we're all at the point now where you want to see some young guys. But it's going to be a real opportunity for Tyquan Thornton today, who I think should play a really significant amount of snaps. I don't know, how much they'll go to him and try to push it down the field to him, but I think he's going to be out there maybe close to every snap.
I'll be interested to see, too, like how much we see Juju today, because I feel like we didn't see him last week until the guys, Kendrick Bourne and Devontae Parker went out with injuries. And it's like, if we do see a lot of Juju today, like, need him to be productive. You can't have him be.
But I have no expectation of him being that.
No, you can't. And I mean, and it's one of those things.
Based on what? Just hope?
Yes.
And you think
at this point,
maybe it's time for him to start playing?
Yeah, it's time. It's like you missed a couple games with a concussion.
No, you're right, Hardy. I mean, I like everything you're saying, I totally agree with. And it's like, are we really going to try to say today's the day for I don't think it's going to be the day for Juju. I just think you gave this guy a contract, you bought him in, he was the crown jewel edition of you've got Bourne's out, Parker's out, two of your better receivers. Certainly Bourne has been your most productive receiver, and it's kind of like, look, if you're ever going to do anything for us, Juju, today's the day that we need you to step up and do something. So it's going to be interesting when we come out. How many times is he targeted? How much does he play? Like, if he's still kind of benched on the depth chart and they're playing Douglas, you'll be excited to see Douglas and those guys a little bit more. But I think based on the numbers today, Juju Smith-Schuster's going to have to play a ton.
By the way, did I miss some memo about when we went from calling Trent Brown
Trenton?
I was confused by that as well.
And then it was on the inactives list on our screen here on the Patriots pregame.
I did not even know that his name wasn't Trent.
I was today years old when I found out his real name was Trenton Brown. But I mean, you did it, Deuce.
It's only like the formal, like when they announce him as something, it's Trenton, but otherwise he's Big Trent.
Tamara, the apparently just the Deuce mimic now, decides to go with Trenton also.
I was just reading it off of the thing.
And then I see it. There it is again on the inactives. Trenton Brown. This is causing me angst.
It's funny coming from somebody who doesn't even go by their real name.
Well, that's fine. Call me Rob. Call me Robert. I don't care. But if you're going to switch, I need to know why we're switching.
Well, it's formal announcements, like when they're like, Rob Hardy-Poole will not be active today.
But with Trenton not playing today, I feel like Mike Key is just very challenging.
Yeah.
It does throw a bit of a wrench into the commanding the line of scrimmage offensively for the Patriots.
It does, because I feel like Mac is very unsettled, and I feel like if you get him rattled early on, he just spirals, and he's unable to recover from it. And so I feel like if they attack that weak side of the offensive line, which arguably has been a hot mess all sides all season, I'm just a little bit concerned for him.
She's right.
They're strong.
I mean, Connor McDermott and Cole Strange on that left side is going to be those two big defensive tackles. They're going to slide to those two guys and try to completely overwhelm them. It's just what a journey for Connor McDermott, who went from Jets practice squad last year to like coming in here and actually being a solid right tackle, and was competing for the right tackle spot. Seemed like one of the favorites for the right tackle spot till we got to Green Bay. Got hurt. Got released with an injury settlement. Now he's back. Now he's starting at left tackle today. So the trials and tribulations of the left tackle position, the tackle position in general for the Patriots this year has been something else.
Do we have a ball game in Germany where the Dolphins have managed to get on the scoreboard here about midway through the third quarter?
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. From Sweden.
Sorry, I'm starting to get in my German mode because we're be there
but
a
I
couple
think
days.
this is one of those questions, like Floyd mentioned, like if Mac Jones scores 2 touchdowns but has 1 pick, like I trust that Tua in this game, he could come back in this game. He had that one, I don't even know what it was called, a pick, scoop and score, whatever it was. I feel like they're still able to overcome this because they have such an explosive offense.
Yeah.
This offense here, one mistake, it's too big. It's too big to overcome.
I think that's what we talked about in the post game last week too. Is there are teams that can, or maybe it wasn't because I'm thinking about the Lions. The Lions just played on Monday night. You saw the Lions cough it up twice on 2 of their 3 final drives, and either have points go the other way or screw up an opportunity to score. But we're talking about the Lions here. We're not talking about, the 2000 Rams. We're not talking about the greatest show on turf. We're just talking about a workable, passable NFL offense. you see them turn the ball over like that, like, yeah, they'll get down there again. And they did, and turned it over again. And you know what you said? They'll get down there again. And they did. And then they scored, and it's okay. Yeah. You have no reason to believe the Patriots can turn the ball over late like Mac did, deep into enemy territory, and just, we'll get the ball back and drive back down there and try it again.
Yeah.
No.
And I think they generally feel, kind of emotionally rattled. Like it's one thing to say, like, oh, we don't have the pieces, we don't have the Tyreek Hills to, make those big explosive plays, but it's one of the things that made that win over the Bills kind of impressive, because it feels like when this team gets a turnover and you kind of feel everybody looking around like, oh, no, not again, and palms up and all that. Against Buffalo, they had that with Bourne's fumble, but they were able to come back. So, it's just they tease you with little things, but you're right. Miami could come back. We've seen the Patriots, though. They get in those 17-point halftime leads, and you're like, it's most likely done. This is just they're not built like that.
Especially because they have a quarter and a half to go. It's like when you have a guy like Tyreek Hill, like one play could be a 42-yard touchdown. That's it. One play.
And the other team's aware of that too. So it just affects the whole game.
And I honestly don't think Tua is any kind of top anything quarterback in the league, but he's definitely in the top third. And you've got Waddle, you've got Tyreek Hill. Oh yeah, can they score 2 more touchdowns in this game? Of course they can. Yeah. It's more about the Chiefs being able to, build on what they have right now. Let's talk to Michelle in South Carolina. Michelle, thank you for joining us. Patriots pregame, fueled by Dunkin. What do you got for us?
Hey, guys. I was listening. Actually, I agree with Tamara. Tamara, is that how you pronounce it?
We go with the short vowel sound A, Tamara, but I haven't asked her ever. That's just what I'm going with.
Correct.
Okay, see?
Okay.
We're very
Tamara,
close.
I agreed with her earlier about the front lines of the defense being able to be maintained by us, our offensive line, but I just saw the inactives. So I have to disagree now. I think we have big problems with open field tackling, and I wanted to know what you guys thought on that. And who is the backup with Greer not in? Is it Zappy?
Yes.
Yeah, Greer's the third.
Okay. And then who is going to be our somewhat deep threat now that
Tyquan
came out,
Thornton.
and I know Duggar is great, but I'm not sure he's a deep, he can be a deep threat for that pass. And are we going to just see him dunk the ball, because Max doesn't really have that many deep down pass receivers today, I don't think. And if he plays back and we lose this game, do we then give Greer an opportunity to come in and at least play a game or two?
Interesting. Okay. Thank you, Michelle. Interesting questions, all. Hope you're well. Hope Jill is well. I think there are a couple of ways, and having deep downfield threats for the Patriots today, I don't know. It's a nice
Thornton
thought.
And Rager, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe.
They can run fast.
What about? Did you guys read this about motion and how that equates to success in the Patriots offense?
I've heard something about it.
I know a little something about motion. Sending Demario Douglas in motion pre or at the snap results in a much higher completion percentage than not.
Oh.
And that seems to be like the elixir. That is the new James White 13 touches per game leads to victory. If you want to get some offense going, you got to have him. It's not necessarily about the downfield threat, because that requires time behind the line of scrimmage for your quarterback. I don't know if you're getting that today. But send Douglas in motion, get some movement on the defense. That is a bigger, I think, precursor to success in being able to move the ball than if you don't.
PP, any comments there on Trenton?
Yeah, Trent Brown. As Hardy predicted.
Trenton Brown.
Yeah.
As Hardy predicted, Trent Brown.
And Booty, he's had a great week. Inactive.
Yeah, so I'm old enough to remember when Bill sort of adjusts his line of thought on guys based on their comments into the media, and I just wonder he talked to the media, kind of expecting to get an opportunity, and
I will
that
say
had something to do with it.
I will say there was a line when we were interviewing him in the locker room where he said he references as like, my number has been called, and then someone followed up and was like, so you're playing this Sunday? And he was like, no, I'm just saying that like my number could have the opportunity to be called. So there was a little hiccup in there where he danced around. There definitely was that in the locker room. So
I'm glad these things are still so important to the coaching staff here.
Like,
they got their priorities.
It's amazing to me that
line.
What did he say? Yeah. No, he's out.
Yeah.
He's out.
He did say
we could really use him out.
Yeah.
We don't have any receivers healthy. Out.
So now that the Thornton popping up on the injury report on Friday is why I thought Booty was playing.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't necessarily penciling in Booty into the lineup until the injury happened on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm a little surprised that Booty is inactive.
Two other coaching stories from the week I want to get to before the Patriots and Commanders take the field here just a little while. We'll get to that and more of your phone calls at 855-PATS-500, emails webradio@patriots.com. Making it to Wednesday would be a miracle for any of us, but it would also be a win in itself. And to celebrate, Dunkin Rewards members get a free donut with drink purchase every Wednesday now through December. Limit one classic donut per member per Wednesday. Terms and exclusions may apply. Participation may vary. Offer ends 12/27/23.
TouchView Interactive from the Yokers Company offers New England's leading schools and businesses technologically advanced and easy-to-use interactive displays, providing enhanced collaboration and improved student outcomes in the classroom, and an easy way to foster communication and teamwork in any business environment. Available in multiple sizes, TouchView also offers a built-in PC, allowing for easy use through video conference systems. For more information, visit okers.com.
By the time this Patriots fan is finished drinking his Pepsi, you'll be 15 seconds closer to game time. Patriots watching. Better with Pepsi.
Dunkin Rewards members, score big. Get a free medium hot or iced coffee every Monday all month long with purchase. Not a member? Join on the app right now. America runs on Dunkin.
This is the Gillette Labs with exfoliating bar. The bar and the handle removes unseen dirt and debris ahead of the blades for effortless shaving in one efficient stroke.
Get in on the action with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the New England Patriots. New customers can download the DraftKings app now and play free for millions in prizes using code PATS. That's code PATS only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
iPhone 15 Pro on Verizon.
This holiday, trade in any iPhone in any condition for the new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium, Apple TV 4K, and 6 months of Apple One. All on us with Unlimited Ultimate. Go to your local Verizon store now. 6 months of Apple One, then $10 per month. $999.99 device payment or full retail purchase with new smartphone line on Unlimited Ultimate plan required. Less $1,000 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. Promo credit ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. 0% APR. Apple TV 4K and Apple One offers require eligible phone purchase with activation on Unlimited Ultimate. Additional terms and conditions apply. Visit Verizon.com for details.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
oh no!
Replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
TouchView Interactive from the Yokers Company offers New England's leading schools and businesses technologically advanced and easy-to-use interactive displays, providing enhanced collaboration and improved student outcomes in the classroom, and an easy way to foster communication and teamwork in any business environment. Available in multiple sizes, TouchView also offers a built-in PC, allowing for easy use through video conference systems. For more information, visit okers.com.
By the time this Patriots fan is finished drinking his Pepsi, you'll be 15 seconds closer to game time. Patriots watching. Better with Pepsi.
Dunkin Rewards members, Score big. Get a free medium hot or iced coffee every Monday all month long with purchase. Not a member? Join on the app right now. America runs on Dunkin.
This is the Gillette Labs with exfoliating bar. The bar and the handle removes unseen dirt and debris ahead of the blades for effortless shaving in one efficient stroke.
Get in on the action with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the New England Patriots. New customers can download the DraftKings app now and play free for millions in prizes using code PATS. That's code PATS only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
iPhone 15 Pro on Verizon.
This holiday, trade in any iPhone in any condition for the new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium, Apple TV 4K, and 6 months of Apple One. All on us with unlimited Ultimate. Go to your local Verizon store now. 6 months of Apple One, then $10 per month. $999.99 device payment or full retail purchase with new smartphone line on unlimited Ultimate plan required. Less $1,000 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. Promo credit ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. 0% APR. Apple TV 4K and Apple One offers require eligible phone purchase with activation on unlimited Ultimate. Additional terms and conditions apply. Visit Verizon.com for details.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
Oh no.
replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
You know, I was just trying to follow up from our last conversation, Travis. Do you have your lacrosse and polo stats handy from prep school? Because now it's all coming back to me. I was an unconscionable ball breaker earlier this season. I really was. But that name. Oh.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
He was on the crack. Hello? Oh, I'm sorry. Are we on?
you two want to join us?
Just reminiscing.
Deuce was talking about his trombone playing from back in the day. I just want to know if he maintained his trombone. That's all.
I did.
That's all I was saying. That's all I meant by that.
I had no idea what I was doing, and the thing about the trombone is that you can kind of tell when one of them has no idea what they're doing in the student band.
Oh.
So my mom and dad were like, "Wow, you seem like you were the only one who knew what they were doing up there." I'm like, "No, Mom.
Yeah.
I was the only one who didn't know what they were
So
doing."
you had great supportive parents.
I'm just running around.
Let me tell you something. Yeah, I never thought of that, but that is the one instrument where there is a real physical sign going on that one person is doing it all wrong.
Doesn't belong here.
Yeah.
I can remember, God, what song was it? I mean, I still have a recording of us.
Inactives.
Fifth grade band doing like the Star Spangled Banner for like the Little League opening day, and it was I mean, I'm sorry, America, for that rendition.
Wait, how old were you?
I was fifth grade band.
Oh,
band.
that's tough.
But the worst part is
you weren't in Little League?
I got to paint the whole. I was Paul. And funny story, so I had to wear they gave me this band shirt that was like way too tight, already discussed with Hardy, little self-conscious, little chubby Deuce. And then I had to wear my baseball pants. And if you look at the video, you can see like my tighty whities underneath my baseball pants as I'm walking with the trombone, and I got this too tight thing, and then I'm gonna perfect. We'll get video for if it gets crazy here toward the end of the season.
Tamara threatened to contact HR on me on Deuce's behalf while you were out of the room.
Oh, really?
We were talking chubby middle school.
All hell
Deuce.
breaks loose when I go and do my chin wag with
I
the
just
sports
asked
hat.
him if he was forced to go to fat camp as a kid.
It wasn't camp.
And Tamara was, as any number
my
of
God.
inappropriate things I've said
It was a fat
on the
retreat.
show before.
Fat retreat. That's what it was called.
That was the one
Thank you very much.
that really shook her. So my
She's defending
apologies
me.
to
She
everyone.
didn't want to see me getting shamed here.
I wasn't. I wasn't. God.
It's not a shame. Wasn't a pick.
All right. Let's go to Eric in New Jersey, and then we'll do our coaching conversations, okay?
Okay.
Eric, you're up first, though. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Good.
Tamara. I just wanted to kind of talk about Bill for a second here. When we typically say here, Bill has the advantage going up against these other coaches. What is it specifically, given these past few years that you've seen from Bill, what do you think the schematic or the intangible difference that he brings to this organization currently that you've seen this season and moving forward. Because I just don't see that advantage. I don't see teams scared to come back to Foxborough. Teams, obviously the Dolphins on 4th and 1, throwing the ball downfield on us. So what is it that you see from Bill, from that advantage that you think he still provides at this junction of his career?
I agree with you. We said it this week on the show. It's hard to trumpet the Patriots as a well-coached team right now when they're turning the ball over, having the same mistakes, coming out slow, falling in holes, continuing to have the same mistakes. I just think, unfortunately, those are things to me of a team that, isn't well coached. Now, I think schematically they know what's going on. I just don't know why they've been unable to execute. I'm sure they're seeing what's going on but they haven't been able to stop it. Look, they can't beat Tua. They just beat Josh Allen and the Bills for the first time. It's been a struggle the last couple of years.
I think that's it. Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I agree with Mike says. I still think that he has the ability to put a game plan together and do all the things that made him great. But I do wonder if he's trying to execute offensively and defensively in ways that maybe aren't as important as they used to be. And somehow, like the eye is on a different ball than it should be. I don't have the answer to that, but like I said before, all season I've been saying when was the last time you saw the Patriots come out and just have this game plan in Miami right back in the game, thanks to a turnover by the Chiefs.
It's almost like somebody said the game ended when it was 21-0.
Yeah, that would have been me.
Oh.
That would have been me.
Oh.
Yeah. And Miami caught a break with a couple of officials' decisions one on both sides. Anyway, I had made that comment about Bill. I remember all kinds of different game plans. In the dynasty years where wow, I didn't see that coming. Monday night game in Minnesota, in 2005-ish or 6, whatever.
Yep.
And they come out and
Spread.
It was Pat Williams and Kevin Wynn, the two mammoth defensive tackles.
100%.
You could not run on Minnesota. Could not run. First play, they come out, they run right up the middle, nothing. The Metrodome's going crazy. Then they just said, okay, all right. 5 wide. We're going to spread them, shred them, and Brady just ripped them apart in a blowout.
Doug Gabriel, I think.
50-something passes by design, not we fell behind by 3 scores and just had to throw the ball. No, we wanted to throw the ball 50-something times because that was our best way to, that was the game plan. And I just kept wondering, when was the last time you saw something like that? And I saw signs of it against Buffalo.
I imagine
2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I thought whatever they came out with that day had Buffalo on its heels throughout the day.
I imagine it's frustrating because I think, I'm sure he sees what needs to happen, but it just seems like there's a disconnect of having the team to execute it. That goes back to that quote, I just can't get these guys to play the way they need to. It feels that way. It's just, and it's the same thing, the error repeaters, the same mistakes, the just baseline fundamental football stuff of not turning the ball over, of, not having negative plays, of not compounding mistakes and making things worse. And, for too long, it seems like this team just can't get out of their own way, much less, execute a different kind of strategic game plan that the other team didn't see coming.
Well, I want to talk to you about something that happened between Bill Belichick and Phil Perry earlier this week. After the trade deadline came and went, 4 p.m. Tuesday, Patriots made 0 moves, nothing. And Phil asked him about any conversations that took place on Tuesday. Was there any thought to doing anything? Did you think about doing this? And Bill answered in a very annoyed way, look, I'm busy getting ready for Washington. Any trades that go down, that's the personnel department. And we talk about things all the time. And if something happens, they call me. And if they don't, they don't. And it seemed like there was this disconnect between Bill either admitting to or acknowledging that he is, in fact, part of the personnel department. He leads the personnel department. Is that an unfair statement as the GM of the team?
Oh, definitely not an unfair statement.
So I wondered if you guys made anything of that. And Phil, in attempting to follow up, that's when Bill got upset and said, look, we've talked about this 50 times. It's the same thing. If there's something, then they call me. And if there's not, there's not. So, we've kind of had some instances earlier this season of other people on staff almost trying to distance themselves. Bill O'Brien, most notably, when it comes to like guys out there, it's like, that's got nothing to do with me. That's Bill and Matt, having to do with that. Yeah. It almost seems like Bill is trying to create almost a little distance, but it's impossible. You can't. You're in charge of it all. Yeah. So I'm just wondering if either one of you had any thoughts on that this week or the trade deadline in general.
I'll let Paul. Paul usually has good takes on this. I don't know. I'm lame. I didn't really read too much into it. I just felt like he's not the one beating the bushes. And, of course, he's the one who's going to make the decision. But I think he leaves that up to Matt Groh, and they're the ones who are receiving the calls. And then they say, all right, here's what we got. Bill takes 5 minutes out of getting ready for Washington and does it. So, look, we can turn it around any way we want to. I just personally, I didn't really see it as like this huge controversy. It just, to me, it's not. It's an expectation that he's the one like calling Jacksonville and like, oh, you got anybody? Like he's the that's not his job.
I understand that,
but he oversees it. But he's he's the CEO. Like he's not the one doing all the lifting.
Okay. But in order for him to, first of all, I'm not convinced that you need every waking second, every day this week, to somehow figure out how are we going to play the Washington Commanders on Sunday. I don't believe it. And by the way, ask former players about the amount of film that they get and the amount of things and the amount of stuff that they have to put together that never even gets looked at. There certainly aren't enough hours in the day to go over the reams of material handed out to players or gathered by staff. It's just, some of it is just a fool's errand, I think. Mm-hmm. But for Bill to say, like, if he is in fact devoting all his time to the Commanders, and all he's doing is giving an edict to Matt Groh and the rest of the staff saying, you can trade who is the most often mentioned?
Duggar.
No, not Doug. Uche, right? If you can trade Uche and get me a second, good. Otherwise, don't talk to me. Is that a good way to run the department? Because I don't think you were getting a second for Uche. And are they allowed to even come back to him and say, hey, Bill, that should be an ongoing conversation in the weeks, days, and certainly day of the trade deadline as things start to shift and move. I don't know what to believe, but if we take him at face value and just, what he says is the truth, that doesn't sound like a very good way to run your personnel department. Nope, I give them a standard, and if they don't meet it, don't even talk to me.
Yeah, my thing is when he's on the radio earlier in the week, sort of distancing himself from the personnel side. You couldn't possibly do two of those full-time. Those are two full-time jobs. Coach and that. People are going to then ask, like, has there been a change? Do you no longer have final say? Like, the questions on whatever day that was that elicited him getting sort of persnickety with Phil, I think were very valid. Like, you've sort of alluded to the fact that you do not have control of this anymore, even though we kind of all knew that was an overstatement. But more importantly, the trade deadline had just passed. You didn't make any moves. Did you get close to anything?
Totally fair question.
That's the question. The question wasn't like, did you have to go in the office and talk to Matt, or did Matt come to see you? Like, no. You had a bunch of guys entering the last year of their contracts. Some of those guys, I'm going to guess you're not going to re-sign. Did you get asked about any of them? Did you give any thought about any of them? No one's looking for specific. No one's saying, hey, Bill, well, tell you what, Hardy, we did have a call from San Francisco. They asked about Josh Uche. They thought that they might give us a fifth-round pick. We were looking for a fourth, so the deal never materialized. No one's looking for that. No one's expecting that, right? They're just like, hey, any calls?
Are you working on anything?
Yeah. Were you involved in anything? Did you get close? Did you feel like you were close to anything?
Yeah. Can we have some reason to believe that you were trying to that you either believe in the team this year or you're looking to improve for next year and the years beyond? Just give us some sense of direction. So, because it seems, dare I say, rudderless at times.
Yeah. So, like, bottom line is, it's not a huge deal, like Mike said, but I don't really understand why. I think he made it a huge deal by being, extremely.
I think that's happening more and more now.
Yeah, I think he made. Yeah, well, it's not just like people look at that and they say, well, the media just doesn't like the way that he talks to them. No, he's being purposefully like obtuse.
Yeah.
Just answer the question, or a reasonable facsimile of an answer. Like we've gone over this 50 times. No, we haven't, Bill. No, you've never, like, you didn't answer the question. That someone's asking you a question about what happened the day before. How could you possibly have gone over that 50 times? The trade deadline just happened within 24 hours.
You know what I have noticed? Don't seem to get those rallying cries of support for Bill like we used to in the past. Like, oh, yeah, stick it to those idiot people down there trying to do their jobs and ask questions. That's right. Bill, we trust.
Right.
Yeah, give it to him, Bill. Don't tell him anything. I haven't heard many of those people, like any of them this year.
No, there are people out there that still, I think just choose to say Bill Belichick can be here as long as he wants, no matter what the results are. It's he's earned the right. I don't agree with those people, but there are certainly people out there who are just look at what he did over those 20 years and said, carte blanche, you tell us when you're done, no matter how bad it gets.
Not nearly as many as there used to be. And look, when it comes to the "In Bill We Trust" crowd, crickets.
Yeah. I totally agree with it. I used to have a sort of an ongoing thing with Fred in the heyday when it was great. I used to say, Fred, if you could have like this ridiculous, like, hypothetical, everything that they've won would not change. You've won every game, every Super Bowl that you've won. But do you think Patriots fans would rather just anybody else be the coach? Or do you think that they like that? Oh, no, they like this. I said, I got to be honest with you. I encounter more season ticket holders that just say, like, why does he have to do that? Like, and I'm talking about in 2013. Like, why does he have to do that? Why can't he just, like, answer the question? Or why does he have to, like, knock the mic over? Why does he have to snort into the mic? Like, I think if people that were the "In Bill We Trust" crowd knew how great of a coach he was. And that's all it was. But I'm saying this hypothetical that you could never actually do, you're replacing him with Mike Dussault, who has every bit the football acumen that Bill Belichick does, and he is going to use it to win all of the same games that Bill Belichick did. Only he's going to answer the question instead of Bill. Don't tell me that 100 out of 100 would have said, no, I'd rather have Mike Dussault.
Can you clip that, Matt? We'd like to use that one again.
That's nice. That was nice.
And I think that's what you're getting now, Hardy, is those even the people that still think Bill's a good coach, they're saying, well, he's a good coach, but we're not winning, and he really doesn't tell us anything. He's not explaining anything. There's no accountability. And now all of a sudden they're realizing, oh, it didn't have to be like that. It didn't have to be confrontational all the time. But the coach, you'll never hear me. People will try to put words in our mouths. Mike and I on Patriots Unfiltered, you'll never hear me tell anyone he's not a great coach. Like, arguably the best who's ever done it. Some people, inarguable. Great coach. Not a good coach, not a very good coach. Great football coach.
Two more coaching things I want to get to. Number one, this morning I believe it was Ben Volen and then Mike Florio also talking about maybe a little wrinkle in the scenario that a lot of people have accepted, which would be Gerard Mayo would be the heir apparent to Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Another name being floated around there from two different sources saying people within the building, within the Patriots, having good knowledge of the situation, seem to think that Mike Vrabel would actually be the dream scenario for some people with the Patriots, and that the former Patriot and current Titans head coach would be looked upon as a great replacement for Bill whenever that time comes. You heard that report this morning.
I did. I mean, I love Vrabel. I mean, it goes a little bit against what we've kind of been talking about, which is we feel like the obvious move for any NFL team is you kind of vacillate between the player's coach and the hard ass. And, Vrabel, it feels like after Bill, like, all right, are we going to go to like a nice offensive coach, like a Mike McDaniel, like a friendly guy? He's kind of quirky and he's not going to yell at anybody. And, it feels like that's the, what would most likely come if you've kind of followed the circle of usually how these things go. But I love Mike Vrabel. I'm curious how it's going to go for him in Tennessee now that seems like they're in the process of kind of going to Will Levis and getting away from Derrick Henry and that identity that they had. But you have Hopkins, who's a little older, so it seems like they're a team who's getting ready to go through a transition, and I'm not sure if Vrabel's going to be a part of that, if they're going to, if they look at him as a piece to lead them through that transition or not. I'm not sure, but I love Mike Vrabel. I mean, I'd be excited. I'd be excited if it was Mayo. Guys, linebackers, I really both like those guys.
Yeah,
but,
and I know a lot of people sort of started putting those 2 and 2 together when Mike was back here to be honored in the Buffalo game, and he's, we have a game to win. He's sitting with Robert and and all that stuff.
Collective we, even though he's currently the head coach of a completely different football team.
Yeah. Now, again, listen, there's been a million things. We had a thing this week about Montez Sweat in Chicago. I didn't get it. And I was like, all of a sudden the next day he signs a long-term extension. So, sometimes you just don't have the inside information, and you don't know. And my feeling from afar, Mike Vrabel just won a power struggle with John Robinson. He was very upset with John Robinson trading A.J. Brown. He's gone. Vrabel now has the power in Tennessee. The moves they're making would indicate that they are rebuilding. They just traded Kevin Byard at the trade deadline. He's, as Mike said, he's turning it over to Will Levis, it looks like. Oh, big fumble by the Dolphins. I think they may have gotten it back. So 10.5 left, and Miami moving a little bit here, down only a touchdown. Someone told you this game was over at halftime.
Yeah.
I don't know who that was.
3 minutes
You
left
forgot teams were allowed to come back from 20 points.
Yeah, and I will say, I think
teams can just do that.
I will say that I felt like Miami was getting on the short end of a lot of calls in the first half. I think they've been benefited from a couple of non-calls in the second half. Could have been a pass interference on the last drive. That was close. I thought there was a hit by Van Ginkel out of bounds. That would have been offsetting penalties instead of just a penalty on the Chiefs, which could have made a big difference. That was a lot of work for a yard.
Right.
So the Vrabel thing to me on the surface, I think it makes sense because he's been a decent coach for Tennessee, but I don't know, and there's the Pro Football Talk tweet that Hardy was alluding to. I just think that he just won a power struggle in Tennessee, and I think he's the Titans coach.
Well, I think it would also be difficult for them to explain away how Gerard Mayo is not the head coach after he not only turned down a Panthers opportunity, he didn't even interview. Don't even go take that head coaching interview.
Don't even look at him.
Stay here. That's just stay here. Why? Because you're going to be the guy.
You'll see.
Well, am I going to be some kind of defensive coordinator? No.
We'll see.
You're just going to be the guy. And if he's not the guy after that, wow. I think I would feel bad for Gerard if he seemingly has all the attributes and the makings of the next coach, and that is the assumption is a bad word, but that's the situation. He didn't even take an interview, instead to stay with the Patriots under the overwhelmingly accepted belief that he was the next head coach in waiting. And if it's instead they were to bring back Vrabel, that creates a whole nother set of issues from a PR standpoint and from just personally for Gerard Mayo.
I don't have the information on Gerard Mayo, so I don't know. I mean, I know that's a very widely held belief that he's the coach in waiting. No one's ever told me that.
Okay,
so,
all right. So
I don't know.
That's fine. I'm sure he just. I'm being snarky here, so let me get it out. I'm sure
it's called snark, Paul.
I'm sure he just
who understands that more than me.
I'm sure he refused the interview for a head coaching job in the NFL just because he didn't want to move. That it's such a pain in the ass.
So let's explore. I love the snark as we get to watch the quarterbacks enter the tunnel. Oh, Miles Bryant,
Blue Pants,
fan favorite.
Oh, sorry.
So can we maybe sort of explore a couple of other options other than?
I would love to explore.
He stayed because he was promised to be the head coach in waiting. Might he have stayed for a few million reasons?
Yeah.
Would they have paid a few million more on a guaranteed 3, 4
Yeah, but then he
year
would have
contract.
But then he would
as
have
a
to
head
leave.
coach. Yeah.
And maybe he doesn't want to. Maybe he wanted to stay.
So he didn't want to be a head coach and make more money.
I said maybe he, if given the choice of being a head coach somewhere else or making more money here, he chose here. I don't know. I don't have the answer to this question definitively. I think
I don't
people.
know.
I think oftentimes people look at the obvious, and with good reason. The obvious is often the answer. You guys could be right. I'm going to be surprised if he's the next head coach.
Wow. Okay. Well, maybe it'll be Josh McDaniels, who
I would
in our
be
third
stunned.
coaching.
I'd be stunned if he were the next head coach.
In our third coaching story to get to, Josh McDaniels relieved of his duties with the Las Vegas Raiders earlier this week. People have talked a lot about this in terms of what it means for Josh and his future. So I want your thoughts on that first, but also your thoughts on the Bill Belichick coaching tree, which other people will say, well, if Vrabel coming back, he was a Patriot, but he's not part of that coaching tree, so is that a little bit different?
Right.
I say, what's the difference? Where did he learn about coaching from? Did he learn as a player being coached by Belichick?
I would say Ohio State. That's where he got his.
Fine.
Because that's the coaching tree. I'm serious. That's where he got his first
He
job.
learned a lot from Rack too.
Yeah, from
Cornell.
a chronological standpoint, sure. But from a player, when you learn how things are done, doesn't that make more of an imprint on you than just what your resume says? Your resume says you went here and did this, but in life, I know you did all this under this guy.
But who's to say he learned everything he learned under Bill Cowher?
Who's to say that Josh McDaniels
to
or
me,
Matt
it's
Patricia?
about coaching.
Well, to me, it's also about the personality of the guy. And now we know Patricia and Bill are close personally. I don't know if Josh and Bill have a close personal friendship, but for all I know, these guys, once they get away from Bill, say, thank God. Because I've been waiting to do this completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And we make some assumption that the coaching tree is hardwired genetics. And to me, that's a dangerous assumption.
So I had a little bit of a different take on the whole coaching tree thing, too. Like, everybody, really uses that as a negative toward Bill. And I'm like, well, couldn't you spin that and have it be a positive? Like, that's how good of a coach he is? Like, all these guys that we thought were a big part of the, maybe it's not about that. Maybe it is, it's Bill.
I think that's what some of the appeal about Vrabel is, though, is that, yes, he was here. I think, he has a general understanding of why things were successful here. But, I don't know if he's as enmeshed in the actual nuts and bolts of the program. And certainly he's had to go out and kind of establish his own offensive and defensive philosophy. So he's not as, connected into all of the former Patriots coaches that you see around the league. Like when you looked at Josh's staff formerly with the Raiders was so many of the Patriots guys, and you knew that all those guys were here and they're all on that same page. So for me, it's part of what makes Vrabel a little bit more of an outside the box choice, of that he's got a little bit of that Patriots kind of shine to him, but he's not so overly immersed in this whole system that it feels like it still might be a little bit different if he were to come here.
And Paul, just, not to go down this rabbit hole again, but yes, you could make the case that it's a mark for Bill that none of these guys were able to do it. It really is Bill that is that good of a coach. I would say no one else has been able to win as part of the Bill Belichick coaching tree without having Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Julian Edelman, Wes Welker, Richard Seymour
I think
on their team. And
I think that's
maybe
the answer.
Maybe it's been the players the entire time.
Right.
Yeah.
The entire time it's been
player. I agree.
75% about the players, 25% coach.
Yeah. No, I think that's probably closer to the answer.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, now we're back to where we started.
Yeah.
All right. Good. You want to do some? Let's do some over/unders, and then we'll do some electronic mails.
Ooh.
It's time for this week's edition of Over-Unders.
You're over me? When were you under me?
I've decided just now that the over-unders are brought to you by Bridgestone, official tire of the New England Patriots. Proud to partner with Sullivan Tire, New England's headquarters for quality Bridgestone tires. Visit sullivantire.com to find a location near you. Hardy, we didn't actually sell that as a sponsorship segment. I just made it one.
You're the best.
What are you going to do?
I don't like the way you read it.
What are you going to?
I like when you go tire.
Tire.
Yeah, you got a little pop.
So I can't decipher all this scribbling and nonsense on the over-unders.
Okay, you want me to do it?
No, I want I want
got it.
Morel as punishment to do it.
I
want you to say what you typed and then what is actual for each of these numbers.
Mike 4-2, actually 3-3. Paul 3-3, actually 2-4. Hardy 1-5, actually 2-4.
Okay, which brings the season totals to
Mike 26-2, actually 25-23. 27-21, actually 26-22 for Paul. Hardy 21-27, actually 22-26.
Got it.
Hey, I got the six-pack right.
Okay.
Did you though?
I did.
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out. All right, today's
Bottom line is I maintain the lead.
Mac Barney 5 with a sniff.
Mac Jones passing yards 221.5.
Deuce, you're
I'm
up
jumping
first.
in. I'm going to go over on this one. I think this will be a little bit of a back and forth game, and I think the Patriots are going to need to find something through the air. So I'm going to go over on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go over as well. I just feel like they're going to need to move the ball through the air against a very bad defense.
You two are cute.
Sorry.
Might I remind you, Trent Brown, he ain't playing guy. He ain't throwing the ball for no 222 yards under.
Mac Jones passing touchdowns 1.5.
Paul?
So you did under on that?
Yeah, I did under on that.
Because of Trenton.
I'm going to take the over on the touchdown passes, too. I'm feeling frisky today with Mac Jones.
Timeout. He just did it again. When did we start calling Trent Brown Trenton?
I have never.
Okay, he did it. Tamara did it. And then they put it up on the screen for the inactives. So it's like some ongoing troll. I don't know.
I'm going to keep it going,
I
though.
don't appreciate it, though. You're going over on the Mac Jones touchdowns?
I went over on the touchdowns. I did.
I'm going under.
Because I'm not smart.
I'm going to go under on this, but...
you have no reason.
Yeah, I have no reason.
Ramondre Stevenson rushing yards 46.5.
I'm going over. Because they're going to have to run the ball today.
Yeah, this is Ramondre's my guy today. I think he's going to have the most productive day. I don't know why, but that's what I'm going with. And so I'm going to go over on that one. I think he vultures some of those touchdowns from Mac.
Okay. I'll go over as well. All three of us are over.
Demario Douglas receiving yards 41.5.
Whoo!
Back to you, Deuce.
I think Douglas is going to get a bunch of targets today. I'm going to go over on this one.
Paul Perillo.
That sounds reasonable. Like someone's got to catch the ball. I'll take the over.
Someone's got to catch the ball. All those passing yards that Mac Jones is going to rack up today that you two have figured out.
Right.
Under.
Ezekiel Elliott combined rushing and receiving yards 41.5.
Well, I'm going to stick with my theme. I think Washington's defense is like next level bad. I'm going to take the over.
I'm taking the over on this one, too. Just it's my one little blip in an otherwise perfectly consistent over-under. I, too, will go over.
I'm going to keep making this one interesting. I'm going to go under on this one.
Yours makes no sense. Your over-unders make 0 sense
No,
today.
it will. It'll all make sense in the post-game show, Hardy. Don't you worry about that.
Over you took?
I went under.
Under. Okay.
No, Ramondre is going to go off, and Ezekiel's going to be just okay.
And the total score, 47.
Oh, jeez. Where's my score?
Oh, jeez. You sound like my freshman year roommate at Michigan State, Honorato Wenceslao.
Yeah.
Who used to say, oh, jeez, Rob.
Jeez, Rob.
All you do is drink beer and chase girls.
Is he Scandinavian or?
No, he was from Guam.
Oh, all right.
Lives in the area now.
That's not Scandinavia.
Yeah.
What'd you take?
He hadn't done anything
yet.
yet.
Waiting for Mr. Hardy.
Going under. Not by a lot.
Yeah, I can't do the math this fast in my head for what my score is. I'm going to go under.
I'm taking the under as well. I don't believe in Sam Howell, so I don't believe in a shootout coming out today. And, Hardy makes a good point about Trent Brown and the state of the offensive line. So, yeah, I'll take the under.
Capital of New Jersey.
I am Clinton.
I am Trenton.
All right, so there we are.
What you guys are talking about half the time.
Over-unders. It's fine. It's fine. A lot of emails to get to here.
Why don't you read some of them?
I'm going to. At webradio at patriots.com. I don't know that you need to be cracking wise a whole lot today, Deuce.
Oh.
I feel like you're on thin ice for something. I just can't remember what.
If you call me a fat, you fat.
Chad in Atlanta. If, and I mean if, caps, McDaniels ever made his way back to the team and Billy O is still there, how do you see them using Josh? Could he help out as an Ernie Adams type? It's not like it would make things worse than they already are, right? Once again, Chad in Atlanta.
Who's that guy, Brandon King? Can't tell.
Okay. I don't know. I thought we were talking about
That's
Chad in Atlanta's email.
Is that
but
LeGarrette
no.
Blunt?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out who.
Might be Brandon King, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was funny. Like Stevenson really came over and was very enthusiastic.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure who the players were.
All right, Chad, I'll answer your email since Deuce and Paul
Sorry.
are too busy watching
We
the
zoned
TV
out.
set.
What was the question?
I don't know if McDaniels is going to coach again anytime soon.
No.
Who's going to give him a job doing what? And as a head coach in the NFL, that might be it.
I think that should be it as a head coach in the NFL. But, yeah, I think he'll get a job as a coordinator.
I read in the
somewhere.
ESPN report today just about the team meeting and, him kind of saying, like, the players kind of vented to him about the coaching staff. And, he had a last practice where he was very disengaged and not really making connections. And so it just seemed like things were really going in a bad place. I think he'll land somewhere, maybe next year as, an offensive assistant or consultant or that kind of thing. And I think he'll start to rebuild, and maybe he ends up back in college. I could see him getting another OC, opportunity down the line. But I think he's at least on ice for, next 6 months or so. Like I just go off into the wilderness.
Next 6 months?
I don't think he's going to do. There's
you
not
don't think
be,
anyone's going to hire him mid-season?
Well, some people thought he was going to end up back here like next week and was
No.
going to immediately
No.
be back in the mix.
No.
So I
don't know where he ends up. I don't
You think
know
he's
that
out for the next year and a half at least? Like
Yeah,
you think
yeah.
2024, 25 he's out? Yeah. It's possible.
I think he'll be back next year. I don't know where.
Yeah.
Doing
not,
what?
not saying here.
What's he going to do?
College.
What would you hire? You're in
Offensive.
charge of football
What-
team. Would you hire him to be an OC right now?
Who's my OC? Like that?
Deuce.
Do I?
I don't-
But
I
do I
don't
need
know.
an
Some
offense?
might-
Do I need
yeah.
an offensive coach? Do I need
Yeah.
something better?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would hire him if I needed something. If I needed an offensive coordinator. Look, if Bill O'Brien leaves, you think that would be a terrible move for the Patriots to replace him? I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I do.
Just as a point of clarity, the Patriots official, I don't know if you guys already talked about this when I was on my chin wag, but when they have the inactives, they do list him as Trenton Brown.
Yeah, that's where it all came from.
The official account. Now, I know that's what his real name is, but
I didn't know until today.
I don't really understand why all of a sudden everybody's calling him Trenton just because
It's
of
the
that.
thing to do.
I don't know why we would put that when he's inactive. Like
This
Trenton.
A couple of VIPs here. What a Dwight Daring. Hello, Dwight.
Oh, did I miss Dwight? So Miami's got the ball back with 2:28 to go. A couple of timeouts. Kansas City, a curious play call on third and less than a yard. Ended up trying to throw for it and not getting it. So Dolphins 75 yards away from a potential tying touchdown.
So the fans in Germany, they're getting a nice game here this week.
Wowie, wow,
Mostert
wow.
just ran for about 20 on the first play, 25-ish. So
This is what I call football, huh? How about that? All right, bolster
how about that American football?
Rick in Dallas. Quick question. Given the fact that Washington just traded their 2-star edge rushers but still have two Pro Bowl D linemen in the middle, should the Patriots move Onwenu back to guard to bolster the middle? I feel like Strange and Mafi will struggle protecting the middle, and Max struggles when the pocket collapses in front of him. Thanks, guys. And Tamara, Rick in Dallas.
You got no choice today. You don't have the tackles. I think Onwenu has to play right tackle
Plus,
today.
and I don't mean this mean in any way. I think Mac has shown signs of struggling with pressure, period. I don't think he's any worse with pressure up the middle than he is pressure off the edge.
That's fair. That's fair.
That was a Brady thing. Brady could deal with the edge pressure with no problem.
Well,
but up the middle,
he
wasn't
because
able
he loved to just
climb the pocket.
Yeah, he loved to step up in the pocket. half a step, another step, and as long as it was coming, like you're right, Paul. From the sides, he could see it, he could sense it. Just give me a little time in the middle, and wait for that crossing route to develop or something. But
I think it feeds into Paul's thing, which I agree with, which is it doesn't really matter where it comes from. I think you just got to get to Mac early and get him thinking, get his eyes down on the rush.
Thinking about the rush.
That's a big thing. So if they can get a good start, but as we saw last week, good start doesn't mean anything.
Another email here. Team, I do not ask for much. I want to see progress. Wins are the focus, but win or lose, please get players experience, evaluate them, and assess them for possible future fit. Everyone has injuries, but with the Pats losing their 2 best defenders, the plugins are not good enough. I guarantee I will see a big/decisive play, and Miles Bryant will appear a little too late. Not his fault. He's just not good enough. Play Mac, but also get Zappy some snaps. Run the Wildcat if you must from time to time. As a fan, show me you care with the effort. We are not winning the Super Bowl, so achieve realistic goals. That is Joe in Weymouth, formerly Osprey, Florida.
Nice, Joe.
Wonderfully read, Cardi. That was like
very well read.
Chapter 1.
And we get a quick look at the salute to service attire that the Patriots staff is in today. As watching the highlights, there's the bottom of one of the hoodies right there. Good shot. Good shot. Billy O.
Yeah. You know, just for what it's worth, is I wear the same Patriots polo I was given 4 years ago, and nothing since then.
You really are a baby.
I would rock up. I'm trying to get a free hoodie. Would you shut up? I would rock one of those salute to service hoodies.
They're leather, you know. They're made out of leather.
Mostly for Matt. Thank you for your service.
Stolen valor.
Wrong kind of camo, bro.
What?
Oh, I see.
I'm not going out into the I almost said
wilderness.
a bad word.
Gonna be caught dead in Army camo.
Into the S. All right. Well,
I love
whatever.
when we wade into like the armed services.
Yeah.
The rivalries.
It's like, you know,
I would never.
Yeah.
I don't really care for these ones though, to be honest.
I was going to say you can't talk to Marines about the Army. You really just can't talk to Marines. If you're a Marine, you can talk to a Marine.
Ooh.
Otherwise, they don't care what you have to say. Is that fair?
Back to back, big
Care
plays
very
by
much about what you
Raheem
have to say.
Mostert.
Wow, we do have a game developing there in Germany. That is fun to watch. Let's talk to Rodrigo in Brazil before we get to our Sunday six-pack. Rodrigo, thanks for holding. What do you got?
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me again.
Yes, of course. Thanks for calling.
Keisha Moody is inactive again. He did start before, so do you guys think he regressed or he just got a little behind the schedule and the other guys are better than him?
Yeah, I think the first game, Rodrigo, that he did play, they were missing Devontae Parker, who was largely the guy that was going to be involved in his, at his spot on the outside. And Jalen Reagor had just signed in the practice squad. So I think that was the biggest reason why he had a role that day. But since then, I think, for the most part, Parker has played, and they've gone with Reagor, as sort of a secondary guy. So I don't have the answer as to why Booty can't get on the field, but I think that was why he was out there the first game, Mike.
Yep, me too. That's the same point I made at the top. I think everybody's gotten carried away with as if he had just gotten his feet down, he would be a huge part of this offense
this
right
has
now.
nothing to do with his
agree
feet
at all
being
with
in
that.
bounds.
Yeah. Rodrigo, thanks for the call. Appreciate it as always. Hope to talk to you again. Want to do the six-pack?
This is the Sunday six-pack, so kick back and listen to my position. I'm itching to get the picks back. You better bring a big stack. Don't get it mixed, Jack. I came to win it, yeah, this is the Sunday six-pack.
All right, let's see what happened last week and where we stand on the season. Matt?
Mike went 3-1-2, Paul 2-2-2, Hardy 2-2-2. Bringing the season totals to Mike 28-12-4, Hardy 21-19-4, Paul 19-21-4.
Paul's slipping below.
I'm
you've
terrible.
been below 500.
I'm terrible.
It's not
I
good.
think, Mike, does that look like Vidarian Lowe
It
out
does,
there
Paul.
at left tackle?
Yep, Vidarian Lowe out at left tackle. Get off it quick. So that. I mean, he did play some left tackle previously in his career, and probably more so than Connor McDermott had, so it makes a little bit of sense, I guess. But it's still a little scary. We know how many pressures he's given up. I mean, he's been pretty rough on the right side. We'll see how he does on the left today.
Just one quick question. Does anybody know, as the salute to service, are we getting a flyover today?
I'm not sure.
I'm not aware of that.
Flyovers.
We can't see him from the
great
press
day.
box
Now
anyway.
there's McDermott with Cole Strange.
Okay, all right. There's McDermott at left tackle. So they're messing with us a little bit here.
All right. What do we got for our
Okay.
first game to pick here?
Couple 1 p.m. games. The 5-2 Seattle Seahawks at the 6-2 Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore -6.
Yeah, I didn't realize Lamar owns the NFC. I didn't realize he's got like a crazy record against the NFC. Was not aware of that.
I think he's won 16 in a row.
Heard that coming in, so I'm going to take the Ravens.
Yeah, I'm going to take Baltimore as well. I just think they're a better team, and I think they're starting to come together a little bit. They had some shaky wins against lesser opponents. I think that they step up against a good team from the NFC today.
Knowing both of you, this may be the only game that I go against the both of you, but I am taking the Seahawks today.
The 4-4 Minnesota Vikings at the 4-4 Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta -4.
Okay, so I'll be on record as telling you I absolutely despise this game. I don't have any idea. I'm going to take Atlanta just because I think Minnesota's going to be dealing with a rookie quarterback in Hall. So I'll take the Falcons at home. I don't love it.
I don't love this game either. But Deuce and I, you watch, are both going to be on the Vikings today. We just feel like maybe they can figure out a way to pull this one out.
No, Hardy. No. I'm going with the Falcons.
Oh no.
Sorry.
This could be an awful week for Hardy.
Oh, 4th and 10, and the Dolphins botch the snap, and Kansas City's going to survive.
Brutal.
4 p.m. games. 5-2 Dallas Cowboys at the 7-1 Philadelphia Eagles. Philly -3.
Philly.
Hardy.
Yeah. Obviously a big spot for both teams, but I'm going to keep believing in Philadelphia until they give me a lot of reasons, at least more than a couple, to doubt them. I think they can get this done today against Dallas. I will take the Eagles and lay the 3.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same. They just haven't quite found their stride yet, but I feel like as the season goes on, they're going to get better, and I think this is one of those games in the division that they will take Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that all three of us are on the Eagles in this game. I think Dallas certainly has every opportunity to go in there and win, but I'm going to take the Eagles too.
Sunday Night Football. The 5-3 Buffalo Bills at the 4-3 Cincinnati Bengals. Buffalo -1.
Yeah, I think Buffalo is not surging, and Cincinnati is. So I'm going to take Cincinnati, and I'll steal that home dog point.
Paul? Yeah, I'm gonna jump all over this. I like Cincinnati in this game. I thought they were favored, so I'm gonna take them as an underdogs.
They still might be.
Yeah, that's true.
These are correct numbers.
All right.
This is going to be an amazing week for you guys, or a horrible week for me. But once again, I can't believe Paul, especially, is not on Buffalo. I'm going Buffalo. Solo on Buffalo.
Monday Night Football. The 3-4 Los Angeles Chargers at the 4-3 New York Jets. The LAC -3.5.
I hate that. I hate that hook.
The hoof.
I hate the hook. I'm going to take the hook. I think the Chargers win this game, but by a field goal. I'll take the points.
Yeah, I am.
So that means I have the Jets. Pat.
I wrote down LAC. This is why we have issues.
I'm so dumb.
I did too. I thought, but based on what you said,
I think the
LAC
LAC wins by a field goal, so I'll take the points. The Jets.
You're making it complicated.
Oh, you really are.
It's really not that complicated.
It's a little complicated.
It's not that complicated.
I don't
only for Fred and
I have a
for
full
Matt.
booth. Matt LePan takes the picks down too, so I double check my picks when he gives me a sheet.
This is how you should do it.
He knows what Paul's lingo is.
Especially for Matt. Please put me, Hardy, down for the San Diego Superchargers of Los Angeles. Please and thank you.
I'm feeling crazy. I'm gonna take the Jets.
Oh God.
Plus 3.5.
Oh God.
I know.
Hardy could have the lead by himself next week.
Maybe.
Or I could be out. It could be done.
And finally, the 3-5 Washington Commanders at the 2-6 New England Patriots. New England -3.
Hardy.
I don't like this. I think the Patriots, of course, could win today, but I honestly don't want to lay any points with this team. I think it's foolish to do so. I'll take the Commanders getting points. Either one of these teams getting points today would be my pick. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I will take the Commanders getting points.
I really think this game's a coin flip. I'm gonna stay on the Commanders though. I think that their passing weapons and Trenton Brown being out, the Devontae Parker, Bourne being out. It's just we'll see Bentley's active, see how useful he is if he's still able to go with a hamstring. But I think Washington's going to pull this one out unless the Patriots have a couple big takeaways, maybe even score off a takeaway. So that's my wild card. But right now I'm taking the Commanders +3.
Yeah, I totally could see this going either way. Flip a coin and figure it out. I'm going to take the Patriots at home. I think Washington, in my mind, Washington remains a team that kind of puts up fake numbers until I see it differently. I don't think the offense is as good as it looks. I think they're chasing in a lot of these games and put up numbers when they're chasing. So I'm going to say Patriots 23-20.
Oh, yeah, we didn't get our 23-20 Patriots.
So I'll take the Patriots to cover, even though that would be a push.
Okay, I'll go 23-20 Commanders.
I'm going to say 27-23 Commanders.
Okay. By the way, those picks brought to you by the Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism. Great memories are made in Massachusetts, no matter how you choose to make them. Indoors, outdoors, scenic views, city vibes, solo, family style, whatever moves you, whatever the season. Plan your perfect Massachusetts getaway at visitma.com. Well, we covered a lot in this pregame show.
Ooh.
I don't know how we did it in 2 hours, but we managed to get it all in.
I mean, my whole horrible middle school existence, we got in depth on that. That was great.
I do want to ask you this, though, before we hard pivot into kickoff, which will be happening here at 1 o'clock. I theorized last week before the Dolphins-Patriots game that we would learn a lot about both teams. Did we learn a lot about both teams last week? Was that realized? In terms of who they were identity-wise.
I think you learned a little bit about the Patriots that, like, the Buffalo game might have been a one-off.
Yeah.
But Miami, I think, with using today's results
Yes.
for Miami,
Yes.
kind of they are what they were going into the game. They beat up on the weaker teams, and they struggle against the good ones.
We spent so much time this year going over the turnovers and the fast starts, and I think last week was also just an element of it doesn't always really matter all that much. Like, it isn't the turnovers and the slow starts that were killing this team. It was the team that was killing the team. Good start last week, won the turnover battle, but they still couldn't muster it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a great point, Paul, in that the book on the Dolphins was that they had been losing to some bad teams and they'd only beat, or had been losing to good teams and had only beat the bad teams. And well, what happened? Well, they beat the Patriots last week, and today they made it entertaining, kind of.
I will say their defense played pretty well.
They lost to the Chiefs.
The first drive of the game, Kansas City went right down the field and scored as effortlessly as they probably have all year. From that point on, I thought the Dolphins' defense played pretty well. They only allowed one touchdown after that. The other one was a long scoop and score lateral play by the Chiefs' defense. The Chiefs' defense was legit today. They made life very tough on the Dolphins, and I just think those receivers are really dynamic, but they do take a pounding. Hill and Waddle. I think Waddle was definitely affected in this game. I don't know. I still think Miami's good, but 0-3 against quality competition is what it is.
It's just kind of
and they don't look good doing it.
The development, right? Like when they're at home and they're in Miami and it's all clicking, they look great. That's something. As a Miami fan, I would wonder of like, all right, if we're gonna have to go on the road back to Kansas City, we're gonna have to go to Buffalo, we're gonna have to go to Cincinnati. What is that gonna look like?
That could be part of it too. I think it's more about just the caliber of team they play. Their offense just does not look the same against good teams.
Yeah.
I will say this about the Patriots today as I give my final thought. If they somehow do not get a win today, then you can feel good about not having to listen to any kind of path math, any type of what happens over the next three.
I wish you were right. I'm just telling you.
I'm just
telling you it's not going away.
I'm telling
until
you.
they're eliminated, it's not going away.
If they lose to another team that they have the ability to beat, you just chalk it up. It's another Saints situation. It's another Raiders situation.
Yeah.
If you lose today at home to the Commanders, then we'll start. The conversation doesn't have to be all negative. It can actually take a more positive spin, and you can start talking about what you can do to fix things for next year. But if you lose today to this team at home, you'll be at 2-7 on the season with no expectation of being able to win anything else. Realistically, and I think the tone of the conversation about this team changes dramatically with the loss today.
Yeah.
So with the win, okay, we've got something to look forward to over the next few weeks in terms of meaningful football games. But if you want a meaningful season, a loss today ends all talk of that.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I think the next 3 weeks are just, on theory, on paper, lower echelon teams that they should have a chance with. And, I just think after these next 3 weeks, you'll have a real good sense of where they are and what kind of team they really are. Are they a true bottom feeder kind of team that can't beat the Giants or the Colts or those kind of teams? Or are they, enough of have enough that they can muster wins over those kind of teams, and I think today will be telling.
What do you think, Paul? Final thoughts?
Yeah, I just playing out. I want to see some different guys getting some opportunities. That's how I'm looking at the last half of the season. I'm a little disappointed with the wide receiver situation, not because I think Kayshon Boutte is this sort of secret weapon that's in hiding, but I just think, to what end? Jalen Reagor, Juju Smith-Schuster, those guys, do they give you a better chance to win today? Maybe. That to me shouldn't be the be-all, end-all in terms of those personnel decisions. I'd like to see some more unproven guys get an opportunity, and we'll see. That's what I'm looking for today.
We'll see if you get it. We'll talk about it in the post-game show. We hope that you'll join us then. We hope you get a chance to enjoy some Dom sausage during the game, the official steak tip of the New England Patriots. Order them online for nationwide delivery. DomSausage.com, promo code PATS15 for 15% off. That's promo code PATS15. We'll talk to you after the game. Thanks for listening and watching.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.